So the content that was in these that was in the writing samples were somewhat advanced, and the students had really good ideas, but because the teachers were zeroing in more on mechanics and errors that the students made instead of the strengths that their paper had, the teachers overlooked how good the content really was. Now we come to misconception 5, and this one was that the more time students spend receiving English instruction, the faster they will learn. And a strong foundation in one's native language is more conducive to English acquisition than submersion or immersion in an English-only environment. So what does this mean for teachers? We should support students' use of their first language because when they have a solid grasp on their first language, that will help them to learn English. Strategic use of the student's first language will help build a solid foundation that serves as a bridge to English and can help students to make connections between the two languages, like I said. Still on misconception 5, English instruction must be comprehensible and at an appropriate level to be effective. And that was Dr. Krashen who said that, or that's his idea, and he calls this comprehensive input plus one. He says that ELLs acquire language by hearing messages that are slightly above their current English language level. So when students are actively listening to English content that is a little more challenging than the level that they feel comfortable at, that is when they're going to be learning and learning best. This comprehensive input plus one becomes true when the teacher can provide scaffolding and support to help the child make sense of the input. So whenever the teacher can give gestures or visuals or simplify the language a little bit, that's when the student will be able to most effectively learn from what they're listening. Misconception 6 states that all English language learners learn English in the same way at about the same rate. This is blatantly false for a number of reasons. First of all, the length of time that it takes English language learners to acquire English varies a great deal. And it's different for students based on a number of factors. First of all, background experiences, foundation of first language, prior schooling, opportunities afforded to use the target language. These are all different reasons why students may or may not learn at the same rate as other students. All of these contribute to the rate at which they learn. Teachers who are aware of students' socio-cultural backgrounds can more easily create safe and welcoming environments that affirm students as participants in class and encourage learning. It's really important for us as teachers to not devalue each student's original language and culture, because then they will not feel comfortable learning a new language if their own language is demeaned and devalued. Students are more likely to be responsive to a teacher who respects their backgrounds. Then they will feel more able to come forward with questions and not feel like they will be looked down upon or disrespected or thought as stupid whenever their teacher encourages questions and respects their backgrounds. So another reason why English language learners do not learn at the same rate is because the acquisition of a new language takes several years. The article states that it requires about 5 to 7 years to be able to learn cognitively demanding academic material in a second language. And this amount of time varies depending on the nature of instruction and how that language is taught. Even when English language learners appear to be very proficient in English, they may not have acquired full proficiency. The reason for an English language learner's struggles when learning to read is much more likely to be the language acquisition process than a learning disability. So when a teacher sees an English language learner having trouble in a certain area, that's probably because of the struggles that every student encounters during a language acquisition process, and it's not a lack of motivation or an unwillingness to listen like some teachers think it is.